Hello everyone, this your friend Shinobi Nexus 2.0 and we are back in new fanfic. What if Katsumi refused to forget Deidara? Naruto fanfiction part 3. With Naruto back to normal, it was time to look for Sai. We returned to the area we last saw him, and my eyes were immediately drawn to the items on the ground. Sai's things are scattered all over the place, Sakura said. But why is this here? She picked something rectangular from the ground. I stepped closer to look at it curiously. Isn't that the picture book he had earlier? I asked. Sakura nodded. Sai valued this picture boo. But despite that, here it is in a place like this. If he had to leave something so valuable behind, it demonstrates that he was in a tense state in front of Orochimaru, said Yamato. You seem to know that as if you witnessed it yourself. Until earlier on I placed my wood clone here, and was in communication with it, using the wireless radio implanted here. What happened to Sai? Naruto asked. After Sai's conversation with Orochimaru, he went away with Orochimaru and Kabuto. What does that mean? What did they talk about? Asked Sakura. They were talking a distance away, so I couldn't make out the conversation, said Yamato. I wonder what they were talking about, I said thoughtfully. He might have been kidnapped and taken away, Naruto suggested. Yamato shook his head. No, it seems that he approached Orochimaru of his own volition and handed him something. It was just like he was trying to cozy up to Orochimaru. Naruto's eyes went wide. Wait a minute. Even a disgusting guy like him wouldn't betray us, would he? No, there is a possibility, Sakura said, her eyebrows furrowed in thought. Captain Yamato, do you know a person named Danzo? Danzo, I repeated. For some reason, the name gave me chills. Yes, I know him, said Yamato. Who is that guy? Said Naruto. A man from the Hawk faction who in the past opposed the third Hokage, Yamato replied. He's Sai's boss, said Sakura. And an old gramps who doesn't think well of the third Hokage's will. Danzo may be using Sai to make some kind of move. It's possible that Sai may have been given a mission by Danzo that is separate from ours. There is a possibility that he was charged with some kind of top secret mission. So, he's just using our mission in order to make contact with Orochimaru. Said Sakura. How horrible, I said, feeling sick to my stomach. That's the gist of it, Yamato said grimly. This may sound like an over-the-top theory, but it is not outside the realm of possibility, so listen carefully. Danzo may be trying to destroy the Hidden Leaf Village. Hey, what do you mean by destroying the Leaf Village? Said Naruto. I mean today's Leaf Village. Naruto's eyes widened. Today's Leaf Village. That means, Lady Tsunade will, then he paused and shook his head. Your story doesn't add up. I know Sai's boss used to oppose Old Man Third Hokage, but why do they have to destroy the Leaf Village or do something to Grandma Tsunade? Did you forget, Naruto? Said Sakura. Lady Tsunade used to be a favorite pupil of the third. Besides that, the current regime of the Leaf Village was initiated by the fifth Hokage, Lady Tsunade, and it obviously complies with the wishes of the third, said Yamato. Undoubtedly, Danzo is not happy about this, but most of the people in the village support the current regime, so the regime can't be changed easily. The only way to change the regime is to cause an earth-shaking event in the village. An event like the destruction of the Hidden Leaf Village, that Orochimaru set up. Naruto gasped. The destruction of the Hidden Leaf Village. Hold on, I said. You're saying that Danzo wants the entire Leaf Village to be run like he runs his organization that Sai's a part of. The one that despises emotions and only sees ninja as tools. Yamato nodded. That's right. I suddenly felt very sick. I already have problems with the Leaf Village, but Danzo would make it 100 times worse. No way. Danzo may be thinking about conspiring with Orochimaru and making him attack Leaf Village one more time in order to force Lady Tsunade from the position of Hokage. So, you're saying they want to destroy Leaf Village, just because of that? Said Naruto. It's not only because of that. Said Sakura. He wants to build his ideal village after destroying the regime and return to center stage as Hokage. The reason why Danzo went into action at this late date is because he sees it's been 3 years since the last attack, so there has been enough time for Orochimaru to fully regain his forces. I think that's also part of it, said Yamato. Or he may have thought Orochimaru is more cautious now because of the failure of the last attack. If he acts now, he thinks the negotiations with Orochimaru will get underway easily. That means he's going to propose cooperation from the village, right? Yes. Wait a minute, said Naruto. You mean Sai's secret mission is? You mean, Sai's top secret mission is probably to earn Orochimaru's trust and serve as a liaison between Danzo and Orochimaru, said Sakura. He thought the odds of him running into Orochimaru would be high if he was in our group. Naruto's eyes grew wide. That can't be. If that's the case, then we might have to get rid of Sai, Yamato said grimly. Get rid of him. Get rid of Sai. No matter how you look at it, that's too hasty. Yeah, I agreed. Maybe if we talk to him. Yamato ignored us. Now, my clone is following them, but there's no way of knowing what's gonna happen. We're gonna get on their trail right away. But, said Naruto. Okay, Sakura said. Let's go, said Yamato. So, we set off in search of Sai. We did not get far before we had to take a break to allow Sakura to heal our injury. While she was taking care of that, Yamato talked to Naruto and me about our strategy when we reached Orochimaru's hideout. You guys, come here a minute. Sakura called after suddenly. Hurry. Is something wrong, Sakura? Naruto said as we all rushed over. Look at this. Sakura held up Sai's picture book. There appeared to be many drawings inside. Oh, that's Sai's. That's the picture book we picked up that Sai drew, huh? What's in it? If we figure that out, we might be able to find out a little about Sai, said Yamato. Good idea, I said. Right, said Sakura. That's what I was thinking, so I tried reading it, but. What kind of a story is it? Naruto asked curiously. Actually, I don't really know. Why? What do you mean? There are no words or dialogue at all. Well, it is a picture book, I said as we gathered behind Sakura to look at the book. You're right, said Naruto. It kind of looks like a story about the two boys on the front and back cover. And it's got the story of the two boys starting from both title pages of the book and progressing to the middle. When you look at the book starting with this boy with black hair, the next page always has the same boy on the right page. And there's a different person drawn on each left page. See? Huh. This is go back. Naruto suddenly spoke excitedly, and Sakura turned the page back. I knew it, this kid looks a little different when you go to the next page. You're right. And look, he has the same weapon as the guy drawn on the previous page. It looks like it's a story where the boy defeats enemies. Look at this. After fighting, he takes the enemy's weapon and armor. Just as I thought. The next page and the next page, too. Oh, come to think of it. I knew it. The positioning is reversed, but this boy with the white hair is the same, too. So, it's a story where these boys grow by battling enemies, huh? Just a minute, if they're defeating enemies from both sides, then what happens at the end? Sakura frowned. That's the problem. Look. She showed us the middle of the book, which showed the two boys without faces. What's up with this picture? This is a strange picture, Yamato said. In this picture book, only the facing pages in the middle are incomplete, said Sakura. This is kind of creepy, said Naruto. He said it wasn't finished. But why isn't there a face drawn in? Doesn't the guy with the black hair kind of look like Sai? You're right. Did he draw himself? Maybe he drew real events, I suggested. He doesn't strike me as the imaginative type. Then who is this boy with the white hair? Said Naruto. Could it be it's Sai's older brother? Sakura said. He did mention having a brother, I said. As I looked at the book, I suddenly got a sick feeling. Did they have to fight each other? Is that what Danzo's organization is all about? Yamato suddenly paused as if listening to something. It appears my clone has located the hideout. Let's get going. We continued on our way. Finally, we met up with Yamato's clone, who told us that Orochimaru's hideout was behind a rock. Yamato absorbed the clone and then gave us the remnants. We all swallowed one. Yamato said they would allow him to find us if we got separated. He then used his earth jutsu to create a hole in the ground so we could sneak into the hideout. We all got into the hole one by one. I used my sensory abilities to track down Sai. I located him behind a locked door. Yamato used his wood jutsu to turn his finger into a key. It worked, and the door opened. We all barged in and confronted Sai, who was thankfully alone. I knew you'd be here, Sai said calmly, his eyes on Yamato. I'd expect no less from the Anbu Black Ops under the direct command of the Hokage. To think I wouldn't be able to deceive you with that corpse. Now tell us everything, said Yamato. What's this about? You jerk. Naruto growled. Why did you betray us? You shouldn't make too much of a commotion here, said Sai. Things will get troublesome, you see. You jerk. Naruto ran at him, but Sakura held him back. Naruto. Sakura scolded. Here, take this. She handed Sai his picture book. It's yours, isn't it? Thank you, Sai said, sounding sincere as he took the book back. It was an order from Danzo, right? Said Yamato. Danzo has teamed up with Orochimaru and is attempting to do something. You were chosen to be the go-between for Danzo and Orochimaru. What are they planning? With Orochimaru, he's planning to once again destroy the Leaf Village. Isn't that right? No, that's not. I can tell right away that your smile is a lie. Naruto said accusingly. And I can tell right away that what you're saying is a lie. Sai did not appear bothered by this. Now that you have found me, my mission is considered a failure. I can't handle all of you guys by myself. And if you know that much, then there's no point in hiding anything. Then tell us, I said. Sai looked at Yamato. You're exactly right. We're going to crush the current Leaf Village. Say what? Naruto said in shock. The real mission I was given was to gain the favor of Orochimaru and create an opportunity for a collaboration in order to crush the Leaf Village. Do you know what you're saying? To do such a thing. That's not all. I also have the duty of secretly sending information about Orochimaru to Lord Danzo. In other words, I have also been entrusted with a mission as a spy. Keep going, said Yamato. Own up to everything you're hiding. So, basically what you're saying is, while proposing the collaboration with Orochimaru, you're trying to outflank him. You've been given such a dangerous mission. Orochimaru will definitely betray us once the Leaf Village has been crushed. It's to make sure we've always got the advantage. I get it, Sakura said. Danzo wants to make the Leaf Village his own, huh? You made preparations for that all by yourself. The information I wrote in black ink transforms into small animals and carries the information out while protecting itself, you see. This ability of mine was valued highly, and so I was selected for this mission. Sakura appeared affronted. Many people will die, once again if things become turbulent in the Leaf Village. Do you even know why you're doing this? Sai appeared completely apathetic. No idea. They're my orders. So Sai, Yamato said, you. Let me tell you one more thing. Sai is the name I was given just for this mission. I'm nobody. I'm a tool for Lord Danzo. I don't exist. So, no matter what you say to me, it's pointless. That's despicable, I said, feeling a rush of anger. Everyone exists. People are individuals with rights, emotions, and needs. Individuals matter. She's right, Sakura said. I think you know that deep down. Tell me, why do you hold on to that picture book with such care? Sai stared at her blankly. The two kids on the cover are you and your older brother, right? You're holding on to that picture book with such care because it's the only thing that proves your existence, isn't it? You haven't been able to discard your emotions as completely as you say. Even shinobi can't completely discard their emotions. As proof of that, when I handed the picture book to you earlier, you said thanks and took it. You were relieved to get back the picture book that can prove your existence. Sai appeared puzzled. Why does having this picture book prove my own existence? The reason why you don't want to part with that book is that you can't forsake yourself as a younger brother. Do you know why? It's because your bonds with your older brother were that important to you. You don't want to erase the bonds you have with your older brother. Bonds. Sorry, but we had a look inside the picture book. Only the picture in the center-facing pages is unfinished. Sai, I also know that you're from the Foundation, Yamato said. And I also know that you received special training from Danzo in order to suppress your emotions. Special training, said Naruto. It's the same as the evil practice once conducted in the village hidden in the Blood Mist Village, in order to take away emotions. The Blood Mist Village, Sakura repeated. The Hidden Mist, said Naruto. That's where Zabuza's from. Yamato nodded. Then a long time ago in the village hidden in the Blood Mist Village, there was an extremely difficult obstacle in order to become ninja. You even know about that graduation exam? Said Sai. That graduation exam, said Naruto. What's that graduation exam? Fellow students kill each other, Yamato replied. Fellow comrades who all ate from the same bowl make teams of 2 and fight each other until one of them dies. Comrades who until that point would help each other, talk about their dreams and compete with each other. I suddenly felt sick to my stomach. That is the most horrible thing I have ever heard. If you ask me, the Foundation is no better than organizations like the Akatsuki. I looked at Sai. Did you really kill your friends? He did not respond. Looking at the flow of the picture book, it appears you're defeating enemies and taking away their weapons and armor. On the facing pages at the center you will end up fighting your older brother. You killed your older brother. No, Sai said with a tinge of emotion. I was planning on giving this to him. But when I was just about finished with the picture book, he died from sickness. In the Foundation, there were many children of broken families brought about by battle. He was one of those children. I became close with him, like a brother. We weren't related by blood, but he often said nice things about my drawings. In this picture book, what I wanted to show him most of all was what were supposed to be the final pictures on the facing pages. But after he died, I couldn't remember what I was going to draw. Naruto leaned close to me and said in a low voice, "Do you believe him?" I nodded. He's been honest with us so far. Why would he lie about this? Besides, I agree with Sakura that he still has emotions. I could see them in his drawings. I used to suppress my emotions too, and I know you can't completely get rid of them. That may be, but we still cannot trust him, Yamato said. You will have to come with us. Fine, Sai said apathetically. We headed back outside, Yamato keeping a firm grip on Sai. Once we were out in the sun, Yamato made Sai stand near the rock. Unfortunately, Sai, I'll be having my clone stand guard over you here. All right, said Naruto. Now it's back to square one. We're going to save Sasuke. I wouldn't bother, said Sai. I met Sasuke. Sasuke always has Orochimaru with him. That is to say, you'll have to fight Orochimaru once again. You'll end up being chopped up into pieces and turned into a test subject if you pursue recklessly. And what? Sasuke said he doesn't care about you. Sakura said you think of Sasuke like a brother. And yet, for a guy like that, why? Why are you trying to get him back going so far as to oppose Orochimaru and put your life at risk? Why is that, when nobody's ordering you to do so? It's because we care about him, I said. I used to really hate Sasuke, Naruto said. Even though, like me, he didn't have a family, he was elite, and I was always at the bottom. But it was actually fun being with him. He's one of the people who acknowledged me the most. Sasuke is my friend. It's a special bond I was finally able to make. Sai appeared puzzled. A bond. Even so, with Orochimaru as your opponent. It doesn't matter who the opponent is. If my arms get torn off, I'll kick him down. If my legs get torn off, I'll bite him down. If my head gets torn off, I'll stare him down. If my eyes get torn out, I'll curse him in my grave. Even if I get chopped up into pieces, I'll take Sasuke back from Orochimaru. But why let yourself be led by your emotions like that? It's more than that, I said. Your emotions are important. They tell you what you value. Sasuke is family to us. Therefore, we will do anything to help him. Sai tilted his head to the side. Interesting. We'll go after I create the guard, Yamato said. Before he could make a move, someone jumped out in front of us, Kabuto. Kabuto, Yamato exclaimed while we all tensed. You're sure persistent, said Kabuto. He looked over at Sai, who was tied up. Sai, judging from your condition, it appears you've been captured. Don't interfere, said Naruto. If you do, I won't go easy on you. It's futile. We won't know that until we try. Naruto ran at Kabuto with the Rasengan, which Kabuto deflected. The rest of us ran in to help fight him off. Somehow, Kabuto managed to evade all of us and even freed Sai. Man, it's truly pathetic watching you guys, said Kabuto. You in particular, Naruto. Watching you. What I mean is, it's futile even if you were able to beat me, people change. Sasuke isn't the old Sasuke anymore. I watched in surprise as Sai walked up behind Kabuto and restrained him. Kabuto appeared just as shocked. What's the idea? Your mission was supposed to be to become the liaison for Danzo and Lord Orochimaru. People change, said Sai. Then the same goes for me. What? Sai looked at Naruto. You. Bonds. I want to see for myself. Naruto's eyes widened in surprise. Sai. Way to go, I said with a grin. Sai. Keep a hold on him, said Yamato. Sai held Kabuto while Yamato used his wood release to bind him. Sai, said Kabuto, still appearing perplexed. What the heck are you thinking? Sai kept his gaze fixed on Naruto. Why are you so hung up on your bonds with Sasuke and what are those bonds? I want to know from your viewpoint. It seems I can't erase my bond with my older brother. Bonds. If it's something that important to me, then I might understand if I see your bonds with Sasuke. I just thought that way. Kabuto suddenly started laughing. Naruto glared at him. What's so funny? You guys don't know the real Sasuke, said Kabuto. This only enraged Naruto. I placed a hand on his shoulder to keep him from lunging at him. Where's Sasuke? Answer me. He's probably done with his training right about now and is in a room deeper inside the hideout. It's true that Sasuke was training with Orochimaru, said Yamato. I don't think what he said just now is a lie. All right, Naruto said excitedly. Then let's get right to it. However, said Yamato, where exactly is this room deeper inside? I don't know, either, said Kabuto. There are several rooms scattered about in here. Room deeper inside doesn't mean just one or two rooms in that case, said Sakura. We just have to search every single one of them, said Naruto. You're right, said Kabuto. You might find it if you search at random. However, you could stir up a serpent's nest. That's also where Lord Orochimaru's private room is, you see. That's a chance we'll have to take, I said. Thanks for speaking honestly, said Yamato. No need to thank me, Kabuto said with a smirk. Are you saying the tables will be turned on us? Yeah, Naruto scowled. You jerk. That's something we won't know until we try. Let's go, Yamato said, leading us back to the tunnels after making a wooden clone to watch over Kabuto. Once inside the tunnels, we split up to search for Sasuke. Naruto, Sai, and I went together. We had not gone far when Naruto suddenly collapsed onto the ground. I gasped and fell to his side. Naruto, I cried. I shook him to try to get him up, but he merely groaned. What is wrong with him? Sai asked in a monotone voice. I quickly looked over Naruto. I saw no visible injuries or anything else that could cause a problem. I let out a heavy sigh. He's probably just exhausted from earlier. We should let him rest. I dragged Naruto over to the wall and then started to look after him the best way I knew how. Katsumi, Sai said after a few minutes of silence, would it distract you if I asked you a question? I glanced at him warily. I was still suspicious of him and his intentions, but he did not seem to mean any harm at the moment. I shook my head. There's not much more I can do for him until he wakes up, so ask away. Sai stared at me with his normal, deadpan look. Can you tell me more about emotions? My eyebrows rose in surprise. You want me to tell you? I don't know if I'm the right person for that job. I spent years suppressing my emotions. But you're not suppressing them now, and you clearly feel a lot for your friends. Yeah, I do. I thought about it for a moment and got an idea. I reached into my bag and pulled out my sketchbook. Drawing helps me express my emotions. Come and see. Sai sat beside me on the floor and peered over my shoulder as I opened my sketchbook and began flipping through the pages. They're all animals. I nodded. I use animals to represent the people in my life. Sai's eyes flickered to my neck. Like the animals on your necklace. Discover more. Gaming accessories. Books. Comic book subscriptions. Yes, they are the same. I slowly started to feel more at ease with him. He almost seemed like a normal person. Perhaps he wasn't that bad. After all, it wasn't his fault he was brainwashed by Danzo. At least he was now trying to learn what he lacked. What is this bird? My heart twisted as I looked at my representation of Deidara. I responded in a quiet voice. That's a phoenix. My favorite mythical creature. There are a lot of them. This person is important to you. I swallowed past the lump in my throat. Yeah, he's important to me, but I can't be with him right now. Sai tilted his head to the side as he considered this. Like Sasuke. Is he a brother to you too? I shook my head. No, our relationship is a little different from that. Different. Fortunately, a groan from Naruto prevented me from having to answer. It seems you're awake, said Sai while he looked at Naruto curiously. Naruto slowly sat up. Sai, boy, you really resemble him. Who does he resemble? I asked. My older brother. He was talkative, and he would lose his head. He had no manners, and his equipment was well, never mind. But yeah, like you, Naruto, he went all out with everything he did. When I look at you, I kind of remember him. I smiled. That's kind of sweet. Suddenly, he froze and stared off into the distance. Sai. Sai. Naruto called, but he did not respond. So, he leaned over him and shook his shoulders. Hey, Sai, what's the matter? I remembered, Sai said. I remembered. He took his picture book out and started drawing. Naruto's eyes widened in understanding. You mean, you remember how you wanted to finish your book for your brother? I said. This is what I wanted to show him, said Sai. The picture of our dreams. He turned the book to show us. It was a picture of him and his brother smiling. When I looked back at Sai, I saw him giving us his first genuine smile. Something in my heart settled, and I smiled back at him. Now, that's art, I said. I suddenly tensed up when I felt enemy chakra. Orochimaru. The three of us got to our feet and faced the ninja who happened to be walking down the hall. He seemed surprised to see us as well. Katsumi and I will stop him here, said Naruto. Sai, you go find Sasuke. Okay, Sai said as he turned around. I'll find Sasuke and save him. So, you came to take back Sasuke, huh? Orochimaru said in an amused tone. Your persistence is impressive, but will it really be that easy? It doesn't make any difference that you're one of the legendary Sannin like the pervy sage and Grandma Tsunade. Naruto said with a glare. I'll defeat you and take Sasuke back. Me too, I said. The two of us began fighting Orochimaru, which proved to be much more difficult than battling Kabuto. He wasn't even breaking a sweat. What happened to all your energy from earlier? Orochimaru taunted. Your power, the power of the 9 tails, there must be more to it than this, right? Show me all you've got. Don't let him get to you, I said to Naruto. You don't need the 9 tails. Naruto nodded. Right. Several moments later, Sakura and Yamato arrived to provide backup. Orochimaru seemed to think this was a good time to make an escape. He left with these parting words, I'll still let you live. Please dispose of as many members of the Akatsuki as you can, okay? What? Said Naruto. More importantly, I've got business with Sai, so I'll be leaving now. And then he was gone. Where's Sai? Sakura asked. Sai's looking for Sasuke, said Naruto. We have to do something before Orochimaru finds him. I nodded. Right. I'll have to use up all of my chakra, but I'll try searching with my multiple shadow clone captain. Yamato and Sakura, you guys search that side. Sakura wandered over to Sai's bag, which he had left behind. She picked up the picture book. What's this? Sai finished his picture book, I said, smiling faintly as I remembered the scene. He was able to remember, said Naruto. He said that's the picture of dreams he wanted to show his older brother. Sakura flipped open the book. She seemed surprised at what she saw. They're both smiling. Yeah, he smiled for real for the first time when he drew that. Smiled from the bottom of his heart. It was really nice, I said. Yamato reached into Sai's bag and pulled out a scroll. His eyes immediately went wide. What's this? What's the matter? Said Sakura. We all crowded around Yamato to view the scroll. It was in Sai's bag. This is an assassination list that has an Anbu Black Ops member's own targets recorded. It's called a bingo book. An assassination list. I murmured. I did not like the sound of that. What are these? X marks? Naruto asked. In all likelihood, they're marks indicating targets that have already been eliminated, said Yamato. Why does Sai have such a thing? I guess he's on an assassination mission, I said, the thought making me feel uneasy. Sakura suddenly gasped. Look at this. This is. She pointed at a picture of Sasuke, and my stomach twisted. Why is Sasuke's face in Sai's assassination list? Said Naruto. I swallowed hard. There's only one reason. Then Sai's real mission was to assassinate Sasuke. Sakura said with wide eyes. Yamato nodded. Sai. His mission wasn't to be a go-between for Orochimaru and Danzo. Sai's true classified mission was to assassinate Sasuke. That could never be. Naruto exclaimed. After all, he said earlier that he was going to save Sasuke. And he really smiled from the bottom of his heart. I agree, I said. The emotion I saw from him was real. Even if his mission was to assassinate Sasuke, that doesn't mean he's still dedicated to fulfill it. He said he'd help us. More than Sai, I was concerned about why Danzo seemingly wanted to eliminate Sasuke. Sure, Sasuke was a rogue ninja now, but he hadn't done anything to the Leaf. Why bother infiltrating our team just to get to him? Yeah, said Naruto. What if that was all an act in order to forestall you two? Said Yamato. The owner of this bingo book could indeed be capable of something like that. Look at this. This man in the book next to Sasuke. He's a Jonin from the Hidden Mist, and the man who expressed a hard-line stance against the Leaf. Sai defeated him, huh? Said Naruto. He couldn't have been an easy opponent to defeat. The fact that he eliminated him means that in all likelihood, he must have resorted to every possible means. An act in order to forestall someone was probably all in a day's work for him. I shook my head. No, it wasn't an act. I could tell because of his drawings. They had no emotion in them before, but now. His most recent one is art. And isn't Danzo the one we should be worrying about anyway? It's quite clear by looking at each of the people listed in this bingo book. Sai was assigned to the disposal of people dangerous to the Leaf, and Sasuke is also one such dangerous person. Danzo's goal was to bury Orochimaru's new flesh to bury Sasuke. In order to do that, Sai attempted to approach Orochimaru. He didn't betray the Leaf. It was for the sake of the Leaf. That's exactly what one from a hard-line military faction would think up. Yeah, but that kind of thinking is wrong. He lied to us about his intentions, and he didn't even have permission from the Hokage. The end doesn't justify the means. Even if your goal is moral, your methods must also be moral. There's no point in going on about that here, said Naruto. It doesn't matter what Sai was ordered to do or what that Danzo guy's thinking about. Meeting up with Sai as quickly as possible and saving Sasuke is what's important. It's indeed as Naruto says, said Yamato. I felt Sai's chakra earlier. We need to go quickly. Yeah, alright, I said. Right, said Sakura. Got it, said Naruto. If Sai is after Sasuke then I'll stop him, no matter what. So, we all set off in search of Sai. After some time, we heard a loud explosion. What was that? Said Sakura. It's Sai's chakra, I said, and we all ran down the hallway as fast as possible. I could see light at the end, revealing a makeshift hole. Sakura managed to get ahead of us. I could see Sai up ahead, so I picked up speed as well, wanting to stop her from doing something drastic. I found him, Sakura exclaimed as she ran through the hole. What are you really after? How many times do you have to betray us until you're satisfied? I used my speed to catch up to her just as she was aiming to punch Sai. I leapt in front of him and formed a shield, blocking her attack. Both Sai and Sakura appeared stunned. I gave Sakura a hard look. Back off. Katsumi. But Sasuke, I told you, he's not going to hurt him. Sakura, said a deep voice. And Katsumi, I see. Sakura gasped. That voice. Sasuke. Sasuke stepped into the light just as Naruto reached my side. Sasuke, said Naruto. I stared at Sasuke, feeling a rush of conflicting emotions. Naruto, huh, said Sasuke. So, even you were here, huh? Then is Kakashi also with you? Sorry, It's not Kakashi, said Yamato, coming up from behind. I'm his substitute. Team Kakashi will now be taking you back to the leaf. Team Kakashi. Huh. Sasuke's eyes landed on Sai, who immediately pulled his sword. Sai. Naruto exclaimed. I knew it, said Sakura. So, he's my replacement, huh? Said Sasuke. Some soft one has once again joined up. He said he wanted to protect the bond between Naruto and me. Sakura appeared surprised. But, Sai, I thought your mission was to kill Sasuke. I told you, he's had a chance of heart, I said. Katsumi is correct, said Sai. My classified mission was indeed the assassination of Sasuke, but I've had enough of orders. I now want to act on my own beliefs. I smiled brightly at him. It was always good to see someone thinking for himself. Good for you. Sai nodded. I think you and Naruto will get me to remember my past emotions. I kind of get the feeling it's something very important to me. He turned to Sasuke. I don't know you very well, but there must be some kind of reason why Naruto, Katsumi, and Sakura have pursued you so desperately. They don't want to sever their bonds with you. They're giving it their all to secure those bonds. I still don't understand it all that clearly, but, Sasuke, you should understand. Yeah, I did understand, said Sasuke. That's why I severed the bonds. I have different bonds. Bonds of hatred with my older brother. I took a deep breath. This was my chance to tell him the truth. Sasuke, you have to listen to me. You're wrong about Itachi. I know him. I've spent a lot of time with him. Sasuke turned his cold gaze on me, sending a chill down my spine. What did you say? How could you know him? I lifted my wrist that contained the bracelet which bonded me to Itachi. Take a look. Suddenly, Sasuke stood before me with narrowed eyes. What are you going on about now? I continued to hold my wrist out to him. Just look. Katsumi, be careful, Yamato said in a warning tone. I know. Sasuke grabbed my wrist almost painfully and brought it to his face. His expression darkened when he saw the name etched on my bracelet. What is this? I took a deep breath before responding. This bracelet has a twin, and they are imbued with a special jutsu that binds two people together when they willingly agree to know each other. Itachi has the other one. We are bonded. Sasuke forcefully pushed my wrist away from him. You willingly bonded with Itachi. There was a dangerous glint in his eyes that made me slightly nervous. Well, no, he kind of tricked me into take the bracelet. And then he kidnapped me. For what purpose? To help me break my family's curse. You know, like you promised to help me do before you left. Sasuke grunted in response. Anyway, apparently, the leader of the Akatsuki thought it would interfere with their plans to let the portal remain open. So, he ordered Itachi to help me break the curse. A strong bond between an Uchiha and me is needed for that, as I told you before. Sasuke's eyes narrowed further. Don't tell me you actually bonded with him. I nodded. Not that he made it easy. Even with the way these bracelets allow us to feel the other's emotions, it was hard to get through to him. What you said earlier about bonds of hatred. I think that's what he originally had in mind. In fact, I'm certain of it. That's what happened the curse first occurred. Your ancestor betrayed mine by killing him, and that hatred fueled the portal. Sasuke remained expressionless, not letting any of his thoughts show. Are you telling me he planned to kill you? Yes, I believe that was the plan. However, there was no hatred between us. We formed something stronger. A bond of a loving friendship. Sasuke scoffed at that. Oh, please. As if that could work. It did work. Naruto said loudly. I was there. I saw it. Sasuke looked at me with lifted eyebrows. You're telling me you actually broke the curse? Not quite. We had the opportunity to break it because of an act of love. My father tried to kill Itachi, but I got in the way and was injured instead. Sasuke's expression darkened once more. And why would you do something so idiotic? I took a deep breath to hold in my irritation. Because I care about him. We have a bond, and the evidence of that bond was strong enough to break the curse for good. Except, I chose not to because one of us had to remain in my wild. Neither of us was willing to do that. That's funny. I thought you wanted to return to your world. I did at first, but there are people here I still want to help, including you and Itachi. Sasuke's eyes narrowed. That's not going to happen. For either of us. I don't know what kind of bond you think you have with Itachi, but it's not real. He deceived you into believing he cares. Just like he deceived me. No, that's not true. He didn't deceive me. Or you. A look of anger flashed across Sasuke's face. How can you say that after what he did? Look, I don't know his reasons for what he did to your clan, but I know there must be more to the story than you know. He loves you. I can tell. And he cares about me. He may have a messed up way of showing it, but I know he's trying to do what's right. That is preposterous. He clearly has you fooled. You will stay away from him if you know what's good for you. I shook my head vehemently. No, you're wrong. You don't really know him. He's good, I know it. Do you have any proof? I grit my teeth in frustration. I could not really blame him for not taking me seriously without proof. I probably would not listen to me. No. Then why should I believe you? It's all lies. Forget about Itachi, Naruto said suddenly. Just come home to the leaf. Sasuke turned his cold gaze on him. I told you, there is nothing left for me there. I'm breaking our bond. Then why didn't you kill me back then? You think that could break our bond, Sasuke? Naruto, the reason's simple. It's not that I couldn't break the bond with you. It was just irritating to me. Obtaining power based on the method he told me. Naruto appeared puzzled. What do you mean? It's not necessary to explain that to you. What I can say to you is, back then, you're only alive because of my passing whim. Sasuke then moved to stand in front of Sasuke. Come to think of it, wasn't it your dream to become the Hokage? If you had the time to be chasing after me, you should have spent that time training or something. Right, Naruto. Naruto's eyes widened. Sasuke. And so this time around you'll lose your life because of my passing whim. Sasuke pulled out his sword. Naruto glared at him. No way can a guy who can't even save one friend become the Hokage. Isn't that right, Sasuke? Sasuke. Sasuke attempted to stab Naruto in the back, but I stopped him by quickly pulling up a lightning shield. And so, a battle ensued. It was clear that Sasuke had gotten stronger, but so had we. Still, the battle was difficult. Sasuke managed to knock out Naruto and Sai with one blow. Then he stabbed Yamato, who had jumped in front of Sakura to save her. I noticed Naruto stir a moment too late. As soon as he stood up, Sasuke was beside him. I felt a sudden change in the chakra with the two of them. I felt Naruto and the Nine Tails chakra like normal, but I also felt Sasuke's chakra mingled with them. It was almost like Sasuke was in Naruto's mind. Sasuke remained still with his eyes closed in front of Naruto, confirming my suspicions. Was this some sort of genjutsu? I hesitated, unsure what would happen to Naruto if I attack Sasuke like this. After several moments, the Nine Tails chakra dissipated, and both Naruto and Sasuke opened their eyes. Sasuke, Naruto murmured. Looks like it's meaningless to try and convince Sasuke further than this, said Yamato. He attempted to use his wood-style jutsu to trap Sasuke, but Sasuke broke out of it. My entire team was left in awe of his strength. Naruto looked at Sasuke in frustration. Why don't you get it? Soon, Orochimaru's going to take your body. If it happens, it happens. You're still a kid, Naruto, said Sasuke. Revenge is everything to me. If I can carry out my revenge, it's no concern of mine what happens to me, or to this world. Put simply, neither I nor Orochimaru can defeat Itachi right now. But if I can obtain the power to accomplish that by giving my body to Orochimaru, then I'll give him as much of this life of mine as he wants. The talking's over, said Yamato. Naruto, Katsumi, and Sakura, I didn't want to do anything rough in front of you guys, but I'm going to get serious now. Captain Yamato, said Sakura. What do you mean, serious? Said Naruto. I can't just let those who left the village in the same way as Orochimaru run loose. So I'll do whatever I have to do to haul Sasuke back to the Hidden Leaf. The Hidden Leaf, huh? Said Sasuke. I've had enough of you guys. It's over. He pushed his sword into the ground and then began some hand signals. I tensed when I felt him preparing a strong jutsu. Sasuke, wait. Before any of us could stop him, Orochimaru and Kabuto appeared. Orochimaru grabbed Sasuke's hand to stop him. Don't bother with that jutsu, Sasuke. Let go of me, Sasuke said sharply. Hey, said Kabuto. Don't talk to Lord Orochimaru like that. Sasuke ignored him and looked at Orochimaru. I've got no reason to stop. You know what the Akatsuki are up to, don't you? Said Orochimaru. We want these guys from the Hidden Leaf to take care of the Akatsuki for us. As many of them as possible. Your revenge won't turn out well if the other Akatsuki get in the way, right? Sasuke scoffed. That's a pathetic reason. It should increase your chances of revenge, even if only by 1%. Let's go. Suddenly, all three of them disappeared in flames. I let out a heavy sigh. I guess that's that. Naruto fell to his knees and began to weep. Once again I couldn't stop him. I'm totally weak. Feeling a rush of compassion for him, I knelt beside him and placed a hand on his shoulder. It's all right. I couldn't convince him of the truth. Sakura teared up as well. Crying won't bring Sasuke back home. I'm here. I'll get stronger with you. Both of you. We've got close to 6 months left, right? It goes without saying that 2 are better than 3, said Sai. Besides, I'm pretty strong myself. I gave him a small smile. It seemed he really was sincere about changing. Thanks. We'd be glad to have you with us. Naruto and Sakura agreed. With that, we set off back to the Leaf Village. I stayed close to Naruto while we walked. He appeared very solemn, and I wanted to offer him some support. After a while, I decided to speak to him tentatively. Hey, Naruto. Yeah, Naruto said gruffly without looking at me. What did Sasuke do to you earlier? To me, it felt like he was in your mind. That's because he was. My eyes widened in surprise. Really? He can do that? I guess so. He was there in my mind where I talked to the Nine Tails. Sasuke talked to him, too. I shook my head in amazement. Oh, wow, yeah, and the fox compared Sasuke to some guy named Madara Uchiha. Whoever he is. I felt a chill run down my spine. That was the man who saved Obito and whose identity Obito had taken on. I quickly looked away before Naruto could suspect anything. That's really something. This was an interesting development. What did the nine-tailed fox know about the real Madara? I thought a lot on the walk home. Instead of thinking mostly about Sasuke, though, my thoughts kept drifting back to Sai. I put together everything I knew about him, the route, and Danzo. I was glad Sai was now willing to try things my team's way, but I knew there were still many shinobi on the wrong path. The route seemed like the culmination of everything I hated about this world. Yamato promised he would talk to Tsunade about Danzo's coup. That made me feel better, though it did not seem like enough. So, after resting at home for a bit, I made my way to the Hokage's office to talk to her myself. What is it, Katsumi? She said as soon as I entered. She seemed irritated about something, but I could tell it was not aimed at me. I want to talk to you about Danzo, I said as I approached her desk. Tsunade's expression darkened. Yamato already told me about his attempted coup and the real mission he gave Sai. Don't worry, I will take care of it. Oh, okay. That's good. I just think this whole route is a bad idea and shouldn't be tolerated. Tsunade folded her hands on her desk. I agree, but there is not much I can do without causing more problems. Well, sure, but, Katsumi, you are going to have to trust me. I will deal with this when the time is right. I let out a heavy sigh, my shoulders sagging. I did not trust many adults in this world, but I did have faith in the Hokage's intentions. Okay, fine, I'll give it time. But about Sai. Tsunade's eyes narrowed slightly. What about Sai? Do you still have a problem with him? I shook my head. No, it's not that. I did have a problem with him, but I don't anymore. He realized he was wrong and wants to try being friends with my team and me. Could you please keep him on Team Kakashi? He still needs a lot of help. It's horrible what's happened to him. He can't even feel emotions properly. Danzo really messed him up. Tsunade's expression softened, and a small smile formed on her face. Actually, I have already assigned Sai to your team for a while longer. He requested it himself. I brightened at the news. Really? That's great. You know what else would be great? If you spent time with Sai and helped him work on his emotions. My eyes widened in surprise. What? Are you sure I'm the right person to help him? I have emotional myself. I suppressed my emotions for years. Tsunade smiled slightly. That's why you're perfect for the job. You can empathize with him. I am sure you will be patient with him. I guess. I'll do my best to help. See that you do. After that, I went searching for Sai. It did not take me long to find him wandering along the street. I immediately ran up to him and got in his way. Hello, Sai, I said cheerfully. Sai gave me a polite smile. Hello, Katsumi. Can I help you with something? No, I'm the one who wants to help you. Sai appeared confused. Help me? With what? Help you with your emotions. You want to get closer to me and the others, right? It would help if you could express that through emotions. I used to have trouble with my own emotions, too, you know. Really? Then I suppose you're an expert. I shrugged. Maybe. Naruto was the one who had helped me. I don't know why Tsunade didn't think to give him this job. Well, what would you recommend? What helped you? Being around my friends helped me, but also, my mind drifted to the drawings I used to express my emotions. I knew that Sai liked to draw, too. Art helped me. The last drawing you did in your picture book, that was art. Maybe you could do something like that. Sai's eyes lit up a little bit. Would a painting work? You paint? Yeah, that would be great. Sai nodded. Then I'll do it. Would you like to watch? Sure. With that, the two of us headed to his house. I sat and watched patiently as he began a painting. Soon enough, I realized he was painting a picture of our team. I grinned when I saw the emotion he put into it. There was not a whole lot, but it was a start. What do you think? Sai asked once he finished. I smiled at him. Beautiful. That's real art. Hey, I heard Naruto call from the window. Sai. I walked over to the window with Sai and looked down to see Naruto and Sakura staring up at us. Naruto brightened when he saw me. Oh, good. You're there too, Katsumi. We're having a meeting about our next mission, said Sakura. Hurry up, man. Right. I'm coming, said Sai. We glanced at each other and nodded. It was time to meet with the team. I slowly got used to life in the village again. While wandering around one morning, I did not expect to see one of my cats running up to me. Kiku stopped before me and sat down, giving me a small smile. Hello, Katsumi, she said cheerfully. Kiku, I said in confusion. How did you get here if I didn't summon you? Kiku swished her tail. I was summoned by my other summoner. My eyes widened in understanding. Obito. And what does he want? Why don't you come and see for yourself? He merely asked me to fetch you. He's that close. I looked around warily. Obito may have been my friend, but that did not mean I could trust him, especially when it came to the village. Kiku stood up and turned around. Yeah, he's just outside the village. Don't worry, he's not up to no good. I can tell. Well, alright. I followed the cat through the village without complaint. I trusted her. She had a way of sniffing out people's intentions. Still, I could not stop my heart from hammering as I wondered what Obito wanted with me. Was he going to try to get me to join his cause? If nothing else, I needed to learn more about what he's after so I could stop him when the time was right. I left the village and entered the forest. It did not take long before I caught sight of the familiar orange swirly mask. This time, however, Obito was wearing an Akatsuki robe. Before I had time to consider that, he engulfed me in a hug. Katsumi, he said in his Toby voice. Toby missed you. I couldn't help but smile and hug him back. I missed him, too, despite everything. It's good to see you. Guess what? Toby is an Akatsuki member now. I pulled away from him and looked him over again. Ah, that explains the cloak. Obito nodded. Yep. Isn't this exciting? Sure. So, what do you want? It's dangerous for you to be this close to the village, you know. Obito seemed to brighten under his mask. Toby has something to show you. Come on. He turned around and started to run. My eyes widened in surprise, but I quickly ran after him, Kiku at my side. While we moved further into the forest, I got the idea to extend my senses and search for nearby chakra, just in case Kiku was wrong about Obito's intentions. My heart skipped a beat when I felt someone's familiar chakra. Then I saw him. Deidara, I said breathlessly as I came to a halt, my heart skipping a beat. Deidara gave me a small smile. He stood a few yards from me. Hey, Katsumi. Did Toby do good? Obito asked excitedly. I glanced at him and nodded. Yes, Toby is a good boy. Can you give us a few minutes alone? Okay, I'll keep him occupied, Kiku said, and then the two of them trotted off. As soon as we were alone, I ran up to Deidara and flung my arms around him. He chuckled softly as he hugged me back. I missed you, too, he said in a teasing tone. Has it been that rough without me? I smiled while I clung to him, not wanting to let him go. Fortunately, he seemed to feel the same way. I rested my head on his shoulder and closed my eyes. It felt so good to be in his arms again. Like everything was right in the world. You have no idea, I mumbled. I let out a contented sigh as he began rubbing my back with one hand. Yeah, same here. Deidara's voice took on a more sincere tone. We stayed like that for a long while before he spoke again in a soft voice. I have something to ask you. I pulled away from him so I could look at him, though I kept my hands on his waist to maintain some form of contact with him. What is it? Deidara hesitated for a moment. Then a determined look crossed his face. Run away with me. My eyes widened in shock. At first, I was not sure I had heard him correctly. Then I thought it might be a joke. His serious expression told me he meant it, though. My mind spun as I took in this information. Run away with you. Yes. Think about it. I don't care about the Akatsuki, and you don't want to be here, We were both forced into our roles. You see the injustices of the villages just like me. And I know you want to be with me. We can run far away where no one knows us. We can find peace and be happy together. My hands clutched his cloak while I thought about the proposition. I had to admit, it was tempting. Everything he said was true. Part of me wanted to give up on the ninja system and just run away with him. But another part, I sighed heavily. Deidara. He placed a hand on my cheek and gave me a tender look. Katsumi, I love you. I want to be with you more than anything else. My throat grew tight with emotion. This was everything I wanted to hear from him. And yet, the thought of abandoning my team, specifically Naruto, made my heart clench. And if I left, I would be giving up any chance I had to help Sasuke, Itachi, and Obito. Not to mention the problems it would cause with the portal. I place my hand over Deidara's and nuzzle into his touch. I love you, too, Deidara. I want to be with you, but it's not that easy. I can't leave my friends, and the portal is still not closed. Deidara's expression darkened slightly. Then why didn't you close it when you had the chance, I frowned at the memories. I would have had to stay in the other world, and then we couldn't be together, could we? Deidara nodded. Alright, we can figure that out. I can't stand to be away from you. We'll make it work. I'll give you whatever you want. We can even get married if you want. Please. He grabbed both my hands and held them in his. I could see the anxiety in his eyes. It was like he was barely holding it together. I realized our separation must be worse for him than me. He doesn't have friends to rely on or a purpose to guide him. My heart raced as I gazed into his eyes. I wanted nothing more than to accept his proposal. However, I knew in my heart that I could not. Still, I did not want to give up on the idea of us being together, especially if it would help him, so my mind quickly tried to find another solution. Deidara, I can't run away with you, but. I took a deep breath before looking at him with determination. You should join the Leaf Village. Deidara seemed so surprised that he nearly let go of my hands. What? You can't be serious. I am serious. You said yourself that you hold no loyalty to the Akatsuki. If you willingly surrender, I'm sure the Hokage would be willing to give you a chance in exchange for intel. Deidara shook his head. I'm afraid it doesn't work that way. No one would ever trust me, Maybe not at first, but people will come around if you prove yourself. Everyone used to hate Naruto, but he never gave up. Deidara stiffened at the mention of my friend. That's another thing. That guy hates me. He'll try to kill me. I shook my head vehemently. not wanting to believe that of Naruto. He was angry with you, but he'll let it go if you apologize. I'm sure of it, and the Leaf Village is different now. My friends and I are working to change things. We can show everyone that giving Rogue Ninja a second chance can help solve problems. Deidara sighed heavily. I'm sorry, Katsumi. It just won't work. I would give up my freedom to be with you, but I don't think we can have any kind of future together in your village. People don't change. They won't trust me. Someone will always come between us. We'll never have peace. I swallowed hard, emotion rising in me. If you just try. There's no point in trying. Running away is our only option. Deidara's expression was firm, leaving no room for argument. The hope I had deflated, and a look of sorrow crossed my face. I think you're wrong, and I'll find a way to prove it to you someday. But what do we do now? Maybe we could visit each other. No, Deidara said sharply. He let go of my hands, and I felt a sense of loss. I can't do that, alright. I can't stand to be around you if we can't really be together. It would hurt too much. I'm sorry. If you don't want to run away with me, then this is goodbye. It's probably for the best. I'm no good for you. Go find someone else. I swallowed the lump in my throat, my heart aching in my chest. He gave me one last sad look before turning around. He made it several yards before I finally snapped out of it and ran after him. No. He stopped when I yelled at him and turned around to face me, appearing surprised. I'll never give up on you, Deidara. Even if you avoid me, I'll find you and convince you of the truth. Katsumi. I did not let him finish. I closed the distance between us, wrapped my arms around his neck, and kissed him on the lips. I felt his surprise for a split second before he returned my kiss, wrapping his arms around my waist and pulling me closer. I pull back after a moment and smile at him. That was not a goodbye kiss. As soon as I stepped away from him, Deidara grabbed my arm and pulled me hard against him. Then his lips were on mine again, and I was melting against him. This kiss felt different from all the others. I could feel the love he felt for me and knew he was giving himself to me. I adored him for his devotion to me, but I wondered why he would not accept my love and have faith in us. I tried to show him my love in return as I kissed him back. Deidara broke away all too soon. He gave me a bittersweet smile and then whispered, "Goodbye." I swallowed past the lump in my throat. I couldn't say it back. I love you. His expression brightened slightly. I love you, too. Then he turned to walk away. This time, I did not stop him. I turned around to find Obito and Kiku approaching. How did it go? Kiku asked, swishing her tail. I shrugged. As well as possible, I suppose. Hey, Toby, can I talk to you for a minute? Obito all but skipped over to me. Yes. Will you watch over Deidara? I'm worried about him. It had occurred to me that I had caused trouble for Deidara. He seemed way too stressed and anxious. He may have been fine having fun with the Akatsuki before, but now he knows there's more to life. I hope he doesn't have some sort of existential crisis and do something crazy. He is extremely unpredictable, after all. Obito his head. Watch over him. I nodded. Yeah, just keep an eye on him and make sure he doesn't do anything too reckless. And let me know if he seems very unwell. I frown as I consider that Obito may not think he has a reason to help me. I know you may not care, so, at the very least, don't you dare do anything to make him worse. I'll hunt you down if you do. I gave him the fiercest look I could muster. Obito chuckled lightly. He placed a hand on shoulder, causing me to flinch. Don't worry. Toby will make sure Deidara is safe. We are partners now. Oh yeah, that made sense. It made me feel better to know that Deidara would have someone by his side. I smiled at Obito, deciding to trust him. Thanks, Toby. I stepped forward and give him a hug, which he readily returned. No problem. Bye, Katsumi. Kiku. Goodbye, Toby, said Kiku. The two of us watched as Obito walked in the direction of Deidara. I let out a heavy sigh as I turned around and walked back to the village. Well, that was a little disheartening. Kiku looked up at me with concern. What happened? Deidara doesn't think we can be together. He doesn't think anyone would ever accept him in the Leaf Village. That's understandable. So, What are you going to do? I frowned as I thought about it for a minute. I need to find a way to convince him that people can change, that others would be willing to give him a chance. Maybe I need a concrete example. Something suddenly occurred to me. Maybe I should start with Sai. With his history, there's no way he would normally forgive someone like Deidara. If I can convince him, then that might be proof enough. Kiku nodded. That's a great idea, but you shouldn't forget about Naruto. He's really great at winning people over. You need him on your side. I felt my stomach twist with uneasiness. Normally, I would agree with her, but my memory of him losing it in front of Deidara was fresh in my mind. I'll talk to him eventually. Kiku swished her tail. See that you do. I'm going to head out. Later. Later, Kiku. I watched as she disappeared with a puff. Upon entering the village, I soon caught sight of Naruto. I froze internally as I remembered what Kiku had suggested. Should I talk to him about Deidara? He was my best friend, and I did not want to hide anything from him. Plus, he had promised to help me get through to him. Of course, that was before Deidara had kidnapped Gaara. Hey, Katsumi, Naruto said brightly as he approached me. How's it going? I gave him a weak smile. Not much. Naruto brightened. So, you're not doing anything. Do you want to train with me? I hesitated. Training with him was innocent enough, but I had Deidara on my mind. Naruto was acting like nothing had happened between us. Maybe everything was fine and it was over what happened, but I did not want to find out just yet. Actually, I was looking for Sai. Naruto gave me a puzzled look. Sai? Yeah, Lady Tsunade asked me to look after him. You know, because he's not used to being with a team and all. Naruto relaxed and gave me a smile. Oh, that's cool. Good luck with him. I gave Naruto a small smile in return. Thanks. See you later, then. I nodded. See you, Naruto. I continued walking through the streets, looking for Sai. I finally found him sitting on some steps with a sketchpad. I put on a bright smile and walked up to him. Hello, Sai. He looked up at me with a neutral expression. Hello, Katsumi. What are you doing? Drawing. I did not mind his simple answer. It actually gave me an idea. We had something in common, and I was going to use it. Do you mind if I join you? Said gave me a small smile that did not appear entirely genuine. Not at all. He scooted over to give me room to sit down beside him. Thanks. I took out my own sketchbook to work beside him. He was not giving me much, but this was a start. I knew I could get through to him eventually. I was certainly that Sai was the place to start to achieve my goals. I entered the library and found Sai perusing a shelf of books. I was instantly curious about what he was up to and also thought this would be a good chance to bond with him, so I walked over to him. Hello, Sai, I greeted him. Sai turned to face me with a polite smile. Hello, Katsumi. Are you looking for something? Yes. I am trying to find books about how to make friends. He motioned to the books he had currently laid out on the table next to him. Indeed, they were all about friendship. I found it a little sweet that he wanted to make friends, but it was a little sad that he never had the chance to learn how as a child. Then again, it was not like I was much better. I had never had a real friend until I met Naruto. That's a good idea. I should have thought of that once I decided to have friends. Then how did you learn how to make them? I took a moment to remember how everything had turned out. I didn't remember doing anything intentionally. I don't know, to be honest. I just spent time with my ream, and it happened naturally. Sai appeared thoughtful. Spending time with people, that might help. Thank you, Katsumi. I shrugged. No problem. Your books may help, too. Have you learned anything useful yet? Sai nodded. One of the book mentions that giving nicknames to your friends is a good way to build closeness. Huh, that reminds me of the way I draw my friends in what I think is their animal form. They always appreciate the thoughtfulness. If I choose an animal that suits them, it proves that I know them. Sai appeared thoughtful. So, I should choose a nickname that suits the person. I smiled. Exactly. Then I'll call you Cat, since you draw yourself as a cat. I shrugged. It was not the most original nickname, but it was a start. Works for me. Sai smiled. Now let's find Naruto and Sakura so I can give it a try on them. Okay. I waited in line with Sai as he checked out his books. Then we headed outside. I was surprised to see Naruto and Sakura talking nearby. Naruto brightened when he saw us. Hey, guys, he said happily. What are you up to? Sakura asked. We ran into each other in the library, I said. Can we join you? Sakura smiled at me. Sure. Naruto shot her a bitter look. Oh, and here I was working out my plan to walk with you, just the two of us, like we were on a date. I held in a snicker. Sakura shot him a look. If you've got the time to be doing that, you should be studying up on ninjutsu or something. Study? Huh, like in the library, I offered. Naruto made a face. How can you guys even go to a stuffy place like that? You should train your mind a little and not just your body, said Sakura. You're really an idiot, after all. That's harsh, Sakura. And Naruto, Sakura, could you guys include me in the conversation, too? Sakura turned to him in surprise. Oh, well, I read in a book about how to open up to other people right away, and in the book, it said to call people by their first names only and to use nicknames and terms of endearment. It said if I did that, there would be a sense of friendliness, and we'd be able to get along right away. Oh, so you're concerned about stuff like that, huh? Said Naruto. So, that's what you were doing in the library, said Sakura. Yeah, said Sai. And I was thinking about nicknames and terms of endearment for you guys, but I couldn't really come up with anything good, so I'll just call you guys by just your first names for now. You don't need to think about stuff like that. It just happens naturally. For nicknames or terms of endearment, you should just say that person's character trait. For example, if you're talking about Naruto, idiot Naruto, or moron Naruto, or something. Sakura, you're taking things too far with that, Naruto muttered. I shook my head in dismay. You're not helping Sai. I get it, said Sai. A person's character trait. He stared at Sakura intently, looking her up and down. Sakura blushed lightly. You don't have to stare at me like that. Thank you. I've got the hang of it now, ugly. Sai seemed pleased with the nickname, but Sakura was mortified. I slapped a hand over my mouth to keep from laughing. Sai, you're really taking things too far with that, said Naruto. Sai blinked. Huh, what do you mean? Oh no, I muttered. Sakura proceeded to punch Sai and then Naruto. Sakura, why'd you have to hit me, too? Naruto groaned. I sighed and shook my head. Sakura, it's kind of your own fault for using insults as an example. She shot me a sharp look. Just saying. Sakura sighed. I am going to visit Kakashi-sensei in the hospital. Do you guys want to join me? I relaxed at the suggestion. Sure. Sakura glanced at Sai. You should come too, Sai. Since you're a member of Team Kakashi, you should meet our leader. Okay, Sai replied. So, the four of us made our way to the hospital. Kakashi was still lying in bed, but he seemed to have more energy than the last time I saw him. I see, he said when his eyes fell on Sai. You're the new team member. Sai, was it? Nice to meet you. Right, said Sai. Kakashi-sensei, about our previous mission, said Naruto. I heard about everything from Yamato, said Kakashi. About Sasuke, too. Naruto clenched his fists in frustration. We don't have time. At this rate, he'll soon be. He grit his teeth and looked away. But I can't bring Sasuke back with the power I have now. He's gotten too powerful. Well then, you just have to get more powerful, right? But the speed of Sasuke's development was extraordinary even in my eyes, said Sakura. When I asked Lady Tsunade, she said there's a possibility they're using forbidden jutsu and perhaps drugs in his training. And they've got Kabuto with them. Then we just have to rapidly get more powerful. But how do we do that? Said Naruto. Did you think I was just lying here not thinking about anything? I thought about that the whole time. And I figured it out. However, this approach is suited for Naruto, or rather I should say it's an approach only Naruto can do. In that training in a sense you might just exceed me, Naruto. Naruto's eyes suddenly lit up. I smiled, feeling happy for him. I'll exceed you, Kakashi-sensei. That's right. I'll be with you the whole time on this training. And it will be a different type of training. Naruto seemed to be brimming with excitement now, and I couldn't help but chuckle lightly. What are we going to do? We're going to create a ninjutsu of ultimate strength just for you. In other words, you're going to learn a new ninjutsu that will exceed the Rasengan. However, the acquisition of such a power will require an enormous amount of time and effort. You can't get strong instantly after just a few days like the hero in a novel. And it's completely different from being carefully taught and learning a jutsu like the Rasengan that has already been created. An enormous amount of time. Naruto's smile fell. But I just said we don't have time. Sasuke will be. What I'm saying is, I figured out a way to do it in a short amount of time. Naruto grew excited once more. How do we do it? Well, how are you doing, Kakashi? Asuma said as he barged into the hospital room, his team following behind. Asuma-sensei, you could at least knock. Sakura said, shaking her head. I'm sure this was way more fun, I mused. It turned out that Asuma needed to talk to Kakashi about something. Shikamaru, Choji, and an Ino were there because they were all heading out for barbecue. Asuma even invited my team. So, we left Asuma and Kakashi, and also Shikamaru, to talk while the rest of us made our way to the restaurant. We all arrived and sat down at a table. Ino and I sat on either side of Sai. Ino gave Choji a look and then nodded at Sai. I'm Choji Akamichi of the Akamichi clan, Choji said. Sai gave him his polite smile. Nice to meet you. You're Sai, right? Nice to meet you. Sai paused, and I could almost see the gears turning in his head. He was trying to come up with a nickname. I felt a sense of dread at the thought that he was going to use a physical characteristic again. I grabbed Sai's shoulder and pulled him close to me so I could whisper to him. Choji doesn't like nicknames, so just skip him, okay? Sai blinked. Alright. Is something wrong? Choji asked in confusion. I let Sai go and gave Choji a fake smile. No, everything is peachy. I could see Naruto and Sakura breathing in relief. My name's Ino Yamanaka, said Ino. My family owns the Yamanaka flower shop. Nice to meet you. Sai smiled at her as well. Nice to meet you. Beautiful. Ino blushed while Sakura became enraged. Why do you say that when it's Ino? She proceeded to trash the restaurant and pound Sai. Stop it, Sakura. Naruto cried to no avail. I sighed and shook my head. It seemed to me that teaching Sai how to make friends was going to be more difficult than learning a new jutsu. Kakashi got out of the hospital the next day. He was busy teaching Naruto a new jutsu, so I decided to train on my own. I thought it was a good time to practice my sensory abilities. All was going well until I sensed familiar chakra from the mountains. I froze for a moment. Then I checked again, my heart pounding in my chest. There was no doubt about it. That was Itachi's chakra. I wondered what he was doing there. The only thing in that area was the portal. Wait, maybe he wanted me to find him. At that thought, I sneaked off to find him, careful to avoid detection so no one would question me. I saw him standing near the portal, waiting for me. I could not read his emotions, even with the bracelet that connected us. He was as controlled as usual. However, I could tell that he had no ill intentions, not that I assumed otherwise. My heart started to pound as I approached him. Itachi, I said softly. Hello, Katsumi, he said in a steady voice. At the sound of his voice, I could not take it. I ran the rest of the distance between us and flung my arms around him in a tight hug. I was surprised when he hugged me back just as tightly. I could feel a little more of his emotions now. They were warm and protective. We stayed like that for a while, simply enjoying each other's presence. Finally, I pulled away and looked up at him. Why are you here? Did something happen? No, he replied. I came here to check up on you. How are you doing? I shrugged. I'm fine. I paused as I considered recent events that may interest him. I saw Sasuke. Oh, if he felt anything about that revelation, I could not tell. He was with Orochimaru. My team was trying to capture Orochimaru's spy, and we ran into them both. Sasuke was almost completely emotionless and focused on his goal. Like you. Is that what you want? For him to be like you? Sure. He's stronger now, but at what cost? I tried to read Itachi's face, but he gave nothing away. I knew he could feel my emotions, though. My distress and anxiety in regards to my friend. All is well as long as he survives. I shook my head defiantly. That's bogus. What's the point of surviving if he's not thriving? Why live without happiness? I do not believe in happiness. How can you? You were forced into a new world against your will, and now you are unable to be with the person you love. Is that happiness? I hesitated for a moment. When I first came to this world, I would have agreed with him. However, I learned a lot since then. Yes, a lot of bad things have happened and are still happening, but that doesn't mean I'm not happy or don't have hope that things could get better. I have moments of happiness because I've allowed myself to bond with others and form special memories with them. And that makes everything worth it. One day, I'll prove to you what I mean. Itachi was silent for a minute, seeming to consider my perspective. I hope you are right. I wish for you to succeed. I want you to build a world that I cannot. Then perhaps you will be able to help Sasuke overcome his hatred. A lump formed in my throat as I read his hidden meaning. I will, and I want you to be in that world, too. Itachi's expression darkened ever so slightly. It's too late for me. You need to focus on your friends in the Leaf Village. I swallowed hard. But you are my friend. Itachi shook his head. Goodbye, Katsumi. He turned to leave. Wait, will I see you again? He did not even look back at me as he responded. Hopefully not. I will not come to visit again. I just needed to see if you were fine after encountering Deidara. Now I can see that you are strong enough to endure everything. I wish you the best of luck. Then he was gone. I was in a sullen mood for the rest of the day. I did not feel like training anymore, so I wandered around the village. Eventually, I happened upon Sai. I did not even hear him greet me at first, and I only noticed him when he stood in front of me. Oh, I'm sorry, I said. I've got a lot on my mind. Like what? He asked. I did not know if he was asking to simply be polite, but I was too tired to put up a front. Plus, if he was going to be on my team and be my friend, I had to open up to him. It's a long story. Are you sure you want to hear it? Will it help us become better friends? Yeah, I think so. Sai smiled at me. Then I have time. I took this as a good sign. So, I began to tell him my story. I started with explaining my relationship with Sasuke and then went into how I befriended Itachi while I was with the Akatsuki. I did not mention I had seen Itachi today, of course, but I made it clear that we both cared about each other. Sai seemed fascinated as he listened to me. That is quite remarkable, he said. I brightened a little at this. Really? You don't think it's crazy that I'm bonded to a rogue ninja? Not any crazier than Naruto being bonded to Sasuke. I shrugged. I suppose that's true. People are complicated, right? They're not all good or evil. Sai appeared thoughtful. And you care about people. Both you and Naruto. You don't care about the rules or what others think. My training tells me I should reject this notion, but I'll choose to be curious instead. How do you think this situation should be resolved between Sasuke and Itachi? I was a little surprised by his willingness to consider my opinion, but it pleased me. Well, with love and forgiveness. If the two of them sat down and talked to each other, I'm sure they could work out their problems. Sai tilted his head to the side. I wonder if that is true. I have never heard of someone having that perspective, at least not in the ninja world. Well, it's not that uncommon in my world, not that it's easy there either. I think it provides the best outcome, though. Sai nodded. All right, if Itachi is important to you, then I will give him a chance. My face lit up at that. Really? Wow, you're a lot more open-minded than I thought you would be. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm trying my best. I smiled warmly at him. You know, I think you may understand something about friendship after all. At that, he actually gave me a genuine smile as if he were pleased to hear it. I exited my house in the morning only to nearly run into Naruto as raced down the street. Sorry, Katsumi, he said, skidding to a halt in front of me. I smirked in amusement. Good morning to you, too. You seem to be in a hurry. Naruto grinned at me. I'm just excited to continue my training with Kakashi-sensei. It's going well then. He nodded. It's going great. Guess what? I learned that I have the wind chakra nature. That's super rare. I raised my eyebrows, slightly impressed. For the land of fire it is, yes. Do you know which chakra nature you have? I gave him a small smile. Yes, I have the lightning nature. My shields are made of lightning. Oh, that makes sense. You're like Kakashi sensei. And Sasuke's secondary nature is lightning. I nodded. Yeah, that's right. You wind has an advantage over my lightning, though. Naruto grinned. I know. Anyway, how are you doing? I haven't seen you around lately, though that's mostly my fault for being busy with training. Sorry. He smiled sheepishly. I smiled and shook my head. It's fine. I know it's important. I'm fine. I've been training on my own and also trying to help Sai. Naruto's eyebrows furrowed. Helping him with what? Learning how to get along with others and how to make friends. Plus, how to let his emotions out. He's never had any experience with any of that, you know. Lady Tsunade asked me to look out for him so he can catch up. Naruto smiled warmly at me. That's actually pretty cool. Have you had any success? A little bit. He's a work in progress. Anyway, I should let you get back to Kakashi. I know you have a lot of work to do. Naruto flashed me another grin. Yeah, I do. Wish me luck. I chuckled as I watched him turn and start running again. Good luck, but you don't need it. All I heard was his laughter as he faded into the distance. I watched him go with a smile. I felt hopeful that everything was starting to get back to normal between us. I turned around only to jump in surprise upon seeing Kiku there. You startled me. Kiku flicked her tail in amusement. That's not very reassuring for a sensory ninja. I rolled my eyes. I'm safe in the village. I wasn't trying to use my abilities. Suddenly, I realized what her presence without me summoning her meant. Wait, if you're here, does that mean? Yep. Come on. My heart started to race as I followed the cat. What did Obito want with me now? Had he brought Deidara again? Surprisingly, Kiku led me into the abandoned Uchiha district. I felt uneasy as I looked around. This was like a ghost town. Finally, we entered one of the houses. My senses were up now, so I was not surprised to see Obito standing in the middle of the living room. Hello, I greeted him. If you want to talk to me, please remove your mask. I was surprised when he actually complied, removing the orange swirly mask and setting it on a table. As soon as I saw his Sharingan, however, the world around me changed, and I knew I had been pulled into a genjutsu. The scene was similar to the last one he showed me. I saw Deidara and all of my friends clamoring around me. The sight made my heart ache for what was not reality. I pushed my way past the people and spoke harshly, enough. Everyone faded except Obito, who stood before, regarding me with a calm expression. It could always be this way if you wish it. I shook my head. No, it couldn't. None of this is real. I want to make this happen in real life. That is not possible. I crossed my arms and gave him a defiant look. Says you. Just because you've given up on this world doesn't mean I'm not still willing to fight. Please end this genjutsu. Obito's expression hardened slightly. Fine. But you will see the truth with time. I relaxed once we returned to the room and I saw Kiku sitting near us. I sighed. I could say the same thing about him. What are you even doing here? I simply wished to check up on you. Is that a problem? I frowned at his answer, not quite believing it. At the same time, I didn't think he was up to no good. He seemed to be playing the long game with me, which would not work. I'm fine. If you're not here for any particular reason, maybe we could all play a game, Kiku suggested. Obito stared at her blankly. A game? I smirked at that. I could tell it had been a long time since he played a game. He could use some fun and relaxation. Plus, it might help teach me more about him. Yeah, let's play a game. As long as you're here and there's nothing else you want to do. It'll be nice. Obito let out a resigned sigh. Fine, let's play this game. And so we did. It was actually pretty fun. While we played, I told Obito about my successes with Sai. Since Sai had grown up believing the opposite of the truth, his progress proved that people could change. It doesn't matter in the long run, said Obito. It's just one person. Yes, but one can quickly multiply, I said. You just have to have more faith. And what about Naruto and Deidara? You claim your friend is as open-minded as you, but he tried to kill your lover. My smile fell at this reminder, and I felt my heart clench in pain. Still, I retained my resolve. Naruto is a work in progress. Everyone has a weak spot. Once he's had enough distance from the situation, I'm sure I'll be able to persuade him. Obito scoffed. We'll see about that. Soon. We finished the game, and then he left. I leaned against the wall as I mulled over everything he said. Don't worry, Kiku said softly. I'm sure you'll win the game against him. I knew she was not referring to the literal game we had just played. I sighed heavily. I hope you're right. After I got back from talking with Obito, my team was given a new mission. There had been an assault on a neighboring village, and we were to investigate the incident. We were warned the Akatsuki may be involved, which caught my attention. Naruto was irritated that his training had been interrupted. However, I thought it was a nice change of pace. Yamato led us out of the village. Once we stopped for the night, he told us more about our mission. Apparently, graves were being robbed. Captain, said Sakura, about what we were talking about earlier. Why would someone violate a grave? That's awful. Yeah, said Naruto. Well, usually the graves of wealthy individuals are targeted and items such as ornaments buried with the body are stolen, said Yamato, but the body and treasure were untouched in these grave robberies. The grave robberies have been occurring frequently within a 5-kilometer radius around the Fire Temple where we are now headed. Fire Temple, right. It's the temple that commissioned this mission. Their request is for us to help out with the capture of the grave robbers. But I get the feeling there's something more to these grave robberies. As it happens, there are 4 hidden tombs in the area around this temple. Any chance the grave robbers were targeting those hidden tombs? Sakura asked. Yeah, there's a good chance of that. Just a minute, said Naruto. What are hidden tombs? The variety of information resting in the graves along with the deceased ninja is like a gold mine. Like Sasori whom you fought before. He used the body of the third Kazekage and turned him into a puppet, said Sakura. That's right. The greater the Jonin ninja, the higher the utility value there would be. So, it's necessary to keep the graves well hidden using things like barriers so that the bodies will not be stolen and then used for evil purposes. That's what the hidden tombs are. Fascinating, I murmured. Then some really amazing ninja must be resting in those hidden tombs, huh? Said Naruto. Yeah, and these 4 in particular, said Yamato. They have information just that worthwhile to steal. No kidding. A mischievous look suddenly crossed Yamato's face. But you know there's also one other possibility. It could be that the graves weren't violated from the outside. In other words, the bodies came back to life on the inside and, he wiggled his fingers and made a creepy face. Naruto yelped and hid behind me. Just kidding. Sakura laughed while I gently pat Naruto's head. It's alright, I said. That's not possible. Sure, said Naruto. Can you sleep beside me just in case? I chuckled softly, finding his fear cute. Sure, buddy. We continued our journey the following morning. It did not take us long to reach the place where we were supposed to meet up with some monks. We waited for a while, but they did not show up. Yamato and Sakura headed off to search for them, leaving Naruto, Sai, and me behind in case the monks showed up. All was quiet for a while until Naruto let out a startled yelp. I quickly spun around to see that he had been frightened by an owl. He must have still been spooked by Yamato's story last night. Don't scare me like that. He chided the bird. It's alright, I said gently. I looked over at Sai to find him reading one of his books about friendship and mumbling to himself. Oh, I had a bad feeling about this. I watched as he sat down next to Naruto and put his arm around him. Naruto froze, looking perturbed. What are you doing? I thought it would be for the best, said Sai. No way, man. I'm not into stuff like that. Naruto grumbled. Sai paused for a moment before wrapping his other arm around him in a hug. The other boy immediately pushed him away and leapt to his feet. No, that's not what I meant. Sai quickly flipped through his book. In the case of a misunderstanding with a friend, it's totally dangerous for the two of us to be together. Sure enough, I should be with Sakura. Naruto then stalked away, grumbling to himself. I sighed and shook my head. Taking pity on Sai, I walked over to him and sat down next to him. You know, you made it seem like you wanted a romantic relationship with him. Sai's eyes widened in surprise. What? But the book said. Physical affection is tricky. You can't do that kind of stuff unless you're close friends. Even then, it's less common for two guys to do that to each other than two girls or a girl and a guy. It's not fair, but that's how it is. He probably wouldn't even let Sasuke do that to him, not that Sasuke would ever try. Sai stared at me in wonderment. There are so many rules that aren't even in my books. Will you teach them to me? I smiled slightly at him. Sure. And you can practice with me, too. I won't get offended if you get it wrong. Sai immediately brightened. Thank you, Katsumi. You are great. So, I spent some time teaching him how to comfort a friend. After some practice, he seemed to be getting the hang of it. Even after all that time, Naruto had not returned. However, Yamato and Sakura did get back with the monks we were supposed to meet. We then set off to find Naruto. It did not take us long to spot him. He was fighting with some boy, and they were really going at it. One of the monks approached to try to stop them. Enough, Sora, he said. Naruto, Yamato called. The boy immediately stopped fighting and turned to face the monk. It was just as you worried, Lord Chiraku. On the way to pick up the guests, I became concerned about the hidden tomb and came to have a look. And the barrier had already been broken, the coffin stolen, and this guy was there. Naruto glared at him. Are you trying to lay your crime on me? You're the one who's the culprit. The boy gave him a confused look. What are you talking about? You were the one who was in the hidden tomb first. The coffin was already gone when I got there. Who can corroborate that? The boy's eyes narrowed when Naruto fell silent. Who can corroborate your story? I'll give you the retribution you deserve, you jerk. Naruto glared at him again. Why don't you just try it? I'll just do that. I won't give in. You darn jerk. Huh. The two of them stopped when the monks and my team got in between them. The head monk faced us with a smile. My leaf brethren, my name is Chiraku of the Fire Temple. We missed each other due to a mistake in the rendezvous location. I am terribly sorry for this misunderstanding. What? Said Naruto. The boy looked at Naruto critically. This guy's one of the guests. And he's with the hidden leaf. Then this guy's. His name is Sora, said Chiraku. He is a trainee monk of the same fire temple. Sora. Huh, my name's Yamato, and I am the captain of this team, said Yamato. This is Naruto, and I'm Sakura, said Sakura. My name's Sai, said Sai. I'm Katsumi, I said. I told you we don't need any help from the likes of the hidden leaf, Sora said bitterly. Sora. Chiraku chided him. Lord Chiraku. A new monk exclaimed as he ran up to him. There's not a shred of evidence and Lord Katane's coffin and all have been taken. The barrier was broken with great skill and we believe it was a shinobi of considerable power. Chiraku turned to Sora. If the enemy is a shinobi of great ability, then it was worthwhile summoning the people from the hidden leaf. Head on back and arrange to have skilled individuals guard the other 3 hidden tombs. And tighten security around the fire temple in preparation for a potential emergency. You guys head to the fire temple for now. Understood, said Sora. We all made our way to the fire temple. Once there, Chiraku explained that all of the men whose graves were robbed were fallen members of the 12 Guardian ninja sworn to protect the Land of Fire's daimyo. Asuma used to be one of the 12, which was pretty cool. From everything I heard, they sounded a lot like the secret service of my home country. After that, my team took a break to watch the monks spar. They were actually pretty good, and I found observing them entertaining. I noticed Naruto wander off to search for Sora, and I hope the two of them did not get into any more trouble. Thankfully, a little while later, we all gathered back in the fire temple without issue. However, Chiraku had gathered us all together to inform us that another grave had been broken into. So, we all set off to another tomb to prevent the next attack. Up on a hill, we noticed 4 coffins moving in the valley. We split up, Sakura with Sai, Naruto with Sora, and Yamato with me. Then, all of a sudden, we were separated from each other and in a giant maze. This isn't good, I muttered. It'll be alright, said Yamato. Just stick with me. Yamato and I fought a guy named Fudo for some time. It was tiring, but I noted his use of kunai equipped with explosive tags. Of course, that made me think of Deidara. Eventually, Yamato and I managed to escape from the situation. Then we set off in search of the others. In the caves, we managed to find Naruto fighting some woman while Sakura and Sai watched. 2 other enemies prevented us from interfering. Soon, Sora arrived to back up Naruto. Then the roof was blasted open by the monks. Our enemy decided to retreat after that. However, I noticed Sai had become injured. We all regrouped at the temple. To the hidden leaf, Chiriku said in response to Yamato's statement about us heading home. Yes, Yamato replied. We have to go back to the village hidden in the leaves for a bit. Now that things have turned out this way, we need to once again solicit instruction from the Hokage. And our team will probably continue to be in charge of this incident. He turned to Sora. How about it, Sora? Could you help us out? Unfortunately, as you can see, it will take time for Sai to recover. Since you're from the Fire Temple and have been protecting the hidden tombs, I think you would more than adequately fill the gap left by Sai. I felt uneasy as I looked from Sora to Naruto, knowing the two did not get along. We don't need to force ourselves to ask him to come, do we? Naruto grumbled. Naruto. Sakura chided him. For once, can't you think about where you are? You really will receive divine retribution. Seeing the outside world might also be good training for you, said Chiriku. Either way, you're the one who must decide, Sora. Very well, said Sora. I accept. I glanced at Naruto warily as he groaned. I hope this would end well. So, we returned to the Leaf Village. Fortunately, there had only been minor arguing between Naruto and Sora. We waited outside Tsunade's office, which Yamato had just entered, for the Hokage to be ready to speak to us. A minute later, Asuma exited the room. Hi, Asuma-sensei, Naruto said happily. Oh, Naruto, said Asuma. Are you making progress with your training? Naruto rubbed the back of his neck awkwardly. Well, I actually didn't have time for that. I see. What are you doing here? Captain Yamato told us to wait out here until he calls us. Hey, Sakura said to Sora, who was flowering at Asuma. What are you doing glaring like that? Well, I'm sorry, said Sora, he has such mean-looking eyes. No he doesn't, I said in confusion, but Sora did not respond. Something about the way Asuma looked at the boy told me he recognized him. I found that interesting. Anyway, we're counting on you, Sora, said Sakura. Behave yourself in front of Lady Tsunade, okay? If you don't, something terrible will happen. That's right, said Naruto. Witty remarks don't work on Grandma Tsunade. Huh, said Sora. Is that supposed to scare me? I don't know if she's an old lady or a Hokage or what, but I'll pay my respects. With that, we headed into the Hokage's office. Lady Tsunade, said Sakura. Who's the old lady? Sora said bluntly. Then he was promptly kicked out of Tsunade's office. I wondered what his problem was. Even I was never that bad. The rest of us stayed for the meeting. Afterwards, we met up with Sora outside. Okay, I have to write up a report, so I'm off, Yamato said before walking away. I'll take Sai to the hospital, said Sakura. I'll go with you, I said, casting Sai a concerned look. Hey, wait a minute, said Naruto. I need to continue with my training. Sakura rolled her eyes. Training? My foot. Kakashi-sensei's out on a mission, right? You show Sora around the village. Sora's now our teammate on Team Kakashi. Heck no. Why do I have to be with this obnoxious guy? I don't want to be with this awful jerk, either, said Sora. Yeah, said Sakura. You guys just go at it as much as you like. I won't be joining in anymore. Let's go, Sai. Right, said Sai. Come on, I said, moving to stand beside him. Okay, Naruto, said Sakura, we'll leave Sora to you. Why you guys are dirty? Naruto complained, but we ignored him. Sakura and I brought Sai to the hospital to get checked out. Fortunately, the doctor said he would be fine. I watched him as he rested in bed, pondering what I should do next. Go help Naruto, Sakura suggested. You know he'll need it. Unless you don't want to get involved in that mess. I wouldn't blame you. I shrugged. It's fine. I'll make sure he and Sora don't kill each other. See you later, Sai. Good luck, Sai said as I left the hospital room. Once outside, I used my sensory skills to track down Naruto. I was surprised by the scene I saw before me. Naruto and Sora were fighting Kiba, Choji, and Rock Lee while Shikamaru watched. I'm not sure what I was expecting to find, but it was certainly not that. What's going on? I shouted. Predictably, no one stopped fighting to answer me. I let out a breath of relief when Asuma showed up and broke everyone up with Shikamaru's help. Now then, Asuma said rather cheerfully, let's have a party at the barbecue after the meeting of fists. Barbecue, Choji said excitedly. That sounds good, said Naruto. A dinner with tons of guys. Rock Lee said happily. So, after all said and done it's another party, huh? Said Kiba. You're going, too, right? Naruto asked Sora. No, I'm not particularly hungry, Sora said right before his stomach rumbled. I looked at him with a smirk. You're coming, bud. So, we all walked to the barbecue place together. I moved close to Naruto so I could ask him something that piqued my curiosity. So, why were you fighting with Sora instead of against him? Naruto shrugged. I don't know. I just didn't think it was fair for him to go up against more than one guy, and I thought I should stick up for a teammate. I smiled softly at him. He really was a good guy. I wondered if he would give Deidara a chance if he ever got to see him as a teammate. I pushed the thought away for another time. Oh, that was nice of you. I let the conversation drop as we entered the restaurant. The food there was always really good. How's Chiraku doing? Asuma asked Sora once we were all sitting down. Come to think of it, I hear you're acquainted with Chiraku, Asuma-sensei. Said Naruto. My dad's name was Kazuma, and, Sora started to say. You've got some pretty good moves, Asuma interrupted him. Chiraku must have trained you quite hard. No, Lord Chiraku was a great person at the Fire Temple, but he didn't train me. It's my own style. Oh, I see. So, you got that good by yourself. Oh yeah, Naruto said excitedly. Hey, Asuma-sensei, show him that. What you've been teaching me. Oh, alright, I'll show you after we finish eating. I smiled as I watched them all getting along. I hoped that training together would be good for Naruto and Sora. While they were off with Asuma, I decided to train on my own. I could always use the practice. The next day, Yamato brought us all out to the training field. Sora will become a member of Team Kakashi on a temporary basis while Sai recovers, he explained. And so, now I'd like to practice some new formations. Yes, sir, said Sakura. Alright, I said. What? Said Sora. Forget about that, said Naruto. I want to do wind chakra training. The awful guy makes a good point for once. Naruto glared at him. Cut out the, for once, stuff. It's futile to teach a temporary team something like formations, said a newcomer. Asuma, Yamato said in surprise. First of all, Naruto isn't the type who thinks and then acts, right? And it seems Sora is of the same type. Don't lump me together with him, said Sora. What's your problem? Said Naruto. It seems they're both power and close combat types, Asuma continued as if he had not been interrupted. So, wouldn't it be best to place them on the front line, let them do what they want and have the remaining 3 people back them up? That makes sense to me, I said. I understand that, said Yamato, but backing these 2 up, huh? Well, it's a stretch trying to suddenly hammer formations into them, said Asuma. The rhythm of comrades is something learned gradually by acting as a team. Then that means, formation yada, 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 comes after that. Yamato nodded. You're right. He looked around at us. Then each of you will do your own training for a while. All right, Naruto said excitedly. Then I get to continue the training I was doing before, right? Right, Captain Yamato. No, you need Kakashi-sensei for that. I know. As I recall, you're on standby right now, aren't you, Asuma-sensei? Yamato looked from Naruto to Sora. Why don't you guys have Asuma help you with your training? He has the same wind chakra nature as you guys, after all. The two of them reluctantly agreed. Then Yamato turned to me. Would you like to train with me, Katsumi? I shrugged. Sure. The two of us did not get a chance to train for long before we were brought into Tsunade's office. I was very curious as to why I was summoned as well. I had not done anything wrong as far as I knew. When we arrived, we discovered that Tsunade wanted to talk about a message she received regarding Sora. This interested me. You say you were contacted by Chiriku? Yamato said. Tsunade nodded. Yes. We've found out something unexpected about Sora. She handed him a letter. Yamato's eyes widened in surprise. Sora is Kazuma's son. Well, the thing with Kazuma is water under the bridge. The issue is what's to come. This remains unknown to the outside world, Yamato read from the letter. Around 10 years ago, there was a tragedy that brought the fire temple to the brink of destruction. I rushed to the temple after receiving a report. And what I saw was like a scene out of a nightmare. Even the glorious iron wall seal of the fire temple had been ruthlessly destroyed. All of a sudden, something strange happened to Sora. Things got out of hand. We all tried to stop Sora. But this is how it turned out. He paused to show me a picture of the destruction. Sora did this. He shook his head in disbelief. Needless to say, we did a thorough examination of Sora's body after that. But we couldn't figure out the cause. We had surveillance on Sora at all times. But he would never rampage again. However, those who remembered the incident loathed Sora, fearing his mysterious power, and would avoid him. He lowered the letter, a thoughtful look on his face. So this is the reason why Sora felt like he didn't belong at the fire temple. But what was the cause? Indeed, it seems the cause for Sora's rampage remains unclear. Yeah, that's probably why Chiriku was concerned as well. It seems he wants to take the opportunity while Sora is here in the hidden leaf to have him looked over closely. I see. At any rate, Sora is just like. Tsunade paused and looked at me. Katsumi, have you noticed anything unusual about him? I stared at her in confusion. Then it occurred to me that she must be referring to my sensory abilities. Now that you mention it, there is something about his chakra that reminds me of the chakra of the nine-tailed fox. But, the fox is inside Naruto, so it can't be the same thing, can it? That is what I'm wondering. Will you let me know if you notice anything else strange about him? I nodded. Sure thing. I left her office feeling even more confused than when I entered. Something was definitely up with Sora. I did not have time to think about it, for I actually got to train a bit with Yamato. It was nice. I just wondered how this whole adventure would pan out. The following morning, I was called into Tsunade's office again, this time with Shikamaru, Choji, and Kiba. We were tasked with finding Sora, who had run off last night after Anbu members tried to kill him for being dangerous. That's horrible, I declared, feeling my anger rise. I turned to Asuma, who was also in the room. I sensed he knew more than he was letting on. Do you know anything about this? Asuma hesitated before responding. The attack was not authorized by the Hokage. The ninja who tried to kill Sora was from the root. My eyes narrowed as I recognized the organization Sai belonged to. Not those guys. We do not want him dead, Tsunade reiterated. I want you to find him and protect him. I relaxed at the orders. All right, will do. I searched all over for Sora, but he was elusive. Every time I sensed his chakra, I felt him move elsewhere. Eventually, I felt his presence in the Hokage's office, much to my surprise. So, I returned to the building. I ran inside Tsunade's office without even knocking. Upon entering, I skidded to a halt and gasped at the scene before me. Naruto burst through the window and tackled Tsunade to the ground before a projectile could hit her. Then Sora jumped inside the office, and he had a giant, monstrous arm. He tried to use that arm to attack Tsunade, but Naruto fought him off. Sora fled when Shizune and two Anbu members entered the room. A second later, Naruto ran after him. What's going on? I said incredulously. I'm not sure, Tsunade said, sounding breathless. Go after them. I nodded firmly. Right. Then I hopped out of the window, focusing on Naruto's chakra as I ran. I was hot on their trail when the lights suddenly went out all around me. I skidded to a halt and observed my surroundings. It seemed to me the power was out. That could not be good. I hoped we were not under attack. Remembering the way Sora attacked Tsunade, I got a sinking feeling in my stomach. Maybe someone was manipulating him. Katsumi. Someone called before I could take off again. I turned to see Asuma running towards me. Have you seen Sora? Yeah. Naruto is chasing him, and I'm chasing Naruto, I said. I looked him over suspiciously. He knew more than he was letting on, and I wanted answers. What's going on? You know Sora. There's tension there. Asuma hesitated before speaking reluctantly. I killed Kazuma, Sora's father. My eyes widened in surprise. What? Why? He was a threat. He was trying to enact an evil plot. It was the only way to stop him. The information settled over me, clicking things into place. That certainly explained a lot. Maybe someone told Sora that Asuma killed his father without bothering to explain that his father was the bad guy. Maybe you should explain that to him. Asuma sighed. I doubt it would matter. The truth always matters. He shook his head. Sora is looking for someone to blame for his pain. If he doesn't take it out on me, he will target someone else. His expression suddenly turned serious. Come on, let's find them. I decided not to push the issue for now. Finding Sora and Naruto was more important. Yeah, already. I took a moment to sense for Naruto, and then we were off. Asuma and I ran until we spotted Naruto and Sora in front of us. They were not physically fighting, but they seemed to be engaged in a heated argument. I finally caught up, said Asuma. Asuma-sensei, Naruto said in surprise. And Katsumi. We're here to help, I explained. Sora glared at Asuma. You backstabber, Asuma. Asuma looked at him with a frown. Sora, why did you target the Hokage? The one you want revenge on is, he hesitated before sighing. The one you want revenge on is me. He reached out for him, but he recoiled as if burned. Don't touch me. I just copied what you did. The king you chose going so far as to kill my father. King. Sora's expression darkened. This time I'll kill her. Tsunade didn't do anything, I exclaimed. She's a good person, and I don't say that lightly. What are you all talking about? Naruto said. I don't get it at all. I sighed. It's complicated. Asuma looked at Sora quizzically. You called Lady Tsunade king, just now, didn't you? Yeah, I said. That was weird. There's something. Asuma cut himself off, his eyes widening as if he suddenly thought of something. No, this is terrible. What's the matter, Asuma-sensei? Said Naruto, who was as confused as ever. If my guess is right, this village is in deep trouble. My eyes widened in shock. What? I saw Naruto tense as if ready to race off and tackle the threat. Don't rush, Asuma said to him. Remain calm and focused. The objective of the group attacking the village might be indiscriminate mass slaughter. Say what? Cut the nonsense, Sora said angrily. It all makes sense, said Asuma. Why were the grave robbers after the bodies of 4 lightning-style shinobi? It's because they're familiar with the power of the jutsu of the 4 lightning-style shinobi, and they hit upon the idea of using that power to wipe out the entire village. Sora's anger finally vanished, replaced by a mixture of fear and confusion. Wipe out. You got more than your bargain for, huh? I said. He clearly didn't want things to go this far. That meant there was a chance to bring him back into the fold. Hey, Sora, said Naruto. Is that true? Wiping out the village, that means everyone will be killed. Sora shook his head as if in denial. I don't know. I don't know anything. Sora. I took a step towards Sora. We can figure this out. Let us help you. No, Sora cried. I must go. Then he turned and fled, seemingly in a mild panic. I sighed and slumped my shoulders. We must stop this as soon as we can or something terrible will happen, Naruto, Asuma said. Sorry, but I leave Sora to you and Katsumi. Then he left as well. Naruto turned to me with a determined expression. Let's go after him, Katsumi. I nodded. Right. The two of us took off through the village. Can you track him? Yeah, no problem. I focused on Sora's chakra, frowning slightly when I felt something strangely familiar mingled with it. So strange. Naruto cast me a quizzical look. Huh, it's nothing, I said. Let's focus on finding Sora. Eventually, we were able to catch up to the boy. Naruto charged at him, grabbing his arm to force him to a halt. What happened, Sora? He said with wide eyes. What happened between you and Asuma-sensei? I bit my lip, not sure if I should share what I knew. Let go of me, you jerk. Sora tugged his arm away, but at least he did not run off. Naruto looked at him with a pained expression. Sora, you don't really believe that Asuma-sensei killed your father, do you? You heard him, too, didn't you? He himself confessed to it. He betrayed my father and killed him. Naruto glared at him. Asuma-sensei would never do something like that. He didn't betray your father, I said. Sora gave me a dubious look. He told you that, did he? It was a lie, you can't trust him. I shook my head. There's more to the story. You need to hear this. He did kill your father, but it was because. It was an order from the Hokage, right? Huh, said Naruto. It seems the third Hokage was Asuma's father. What's your point? My point is, my father was killed by the king of the Hidden Leaf. The Land of Fire doesn't need two kings. Since there are two kings, there will always be sources of conflict that will continue to fester. That's why my father worked to make it so there would only be one king, and yet such a lamentable thing happened to him. It happened to him because of Asuma, who chose the other king. Naruto blinked in confusion. The other king, Tsunade, I murmured. That was an odd thing to call her. There was no way Sora thought of it on his own. Someone was putting ideas in his head and manipulating him. It was probably the same person behind this attack. He was ordered by the Hokage to assassinate my father, Sora continued. Those under the Hokage must follow his orders. That's why my father attempted to bring that king down. That's a problem with the system, I argued. There are better ways to fix it. Using violence will only beget more violence and makes you no better than those you oppose. Yeah, said Naruto, and that's no reason to attack Grandma Tsunade, right? Sora groaned in frustration. I'm such an idiot. After all, I was happy to hear the man who killed my father tell me that he died admirably. And I was glad that you seemingly cleared that up, old man. And here I even thought I wouldn't need revenge. I even thought revenge would stain my father's life. I thought that way. And yet, he hung his head in dismay. Naruto's expression softened as he gazed at him. Sora. But I can't imagine the old man third Hokage would make Asuma-sensei do something like that. Sora lifted his head. How can you be so sure? Your father was in the wrong, I said gently. He may have thought his quest was noble, but he put innocent people in danger. Asuma had to protect them. Sora's expression turned fierce again. More lies. No, it's the truth. How can you be sure? The same goes for you. Naruto shot back. How can you be so sure what you say is true? After all, you didn't know that Asuma-sensei was your father's enemy, right? Who did you hear that from anyway? Sora tensed. That's not your concern. Don't tell me you're connected with those guys causing this trouble and intend to wipe out the Hidden Leaf. Sora's eyes flared with anger. No, I haven't heard anything about that. He wouldn't take things that far. This fight will get rid of the Hidden Leaf King. People other than the king and Asuma weren't supposed to be hurt. Then what is all this trouble? That's why I'm trying to go find that out. Let us help you, I tried again. We can figure this out together. No, I don't trust you. I know your loneliness. I really understand the feelings you hold dear. I had seriously started thinking I wanted to be friends with you. Who are you going to believe? Us. Or, Sora had seemed hesitant at first, but then he turned and fled. I let out a heavy sigh. Wait. Sora. Long time no see, boy, said a strange voice, causing me to be on high alert. Naruto and I both spun around. Naruto narrowed his eyes at the woman standing before us. You. I will be your opponent. This time for sure your lips will be mine. That's disturbing, I muttered. Naruto stood beside me, tense and ready for battle. He cast me a side look. Let's take her down. I nodded. Right. I have no interest in you, girl, said the woman. Get out of my way. She attacked me, and I blocked her with a lightning shield. Naruto engaged in a long, hard battle against the woman, who I learned was named Fuka. She was definitely a strange opponent, but we managed to get the better of her in the end. Naruto figured out that her hair was her weakness. He managed to pull her hair clean off, causing her to wither away. He then destroyed the hair to kill the woman. That was wild, I said in amazement. Yeah, Naruto agreed. Now, let's find Sora. Before I could agree, something caught my attention. I gasped as I felt a surge of the Nine Tails chakra, except it was not coming from Naruto. It was coming from the direction of Sora. Whoa. Naruto looked at me anxiously. What is it? I started. Then I looked up and saw the fox's chakra above the treetops. There. Naruto's eyes grew wide. Wow, what's that? I have a bad feeling. Come on. We both took off towards the outskirts of the village. Very nice, Sora, I heard an adult voice say as we got closer. Get angry. Hate. Turn that anger and hate into power. Thrash all the people of the Hidden Leaf. Drive them to death. Knock it off. Sora shouted. I wasn't born to do something like that. Now I was certain his chakra was entwined with the Nine Tails. How was that possible? Yes, you were. It is all for the sake of true unification for the Land of Fire. Your power is now required, Sora. What the heck are you talking about? Naruto and I arrived at the scene at the same time as Asuma. I gasped when I saw the Nine Tails chakra overtaking Sora like it had Naruto. The who had been talking to him looked at us with narrowed eyes. You, Asuma. Kazuma, Asuma said sharply. No way. You, Asuma-sensei, do you know this guy? Naruto asked. Yeah, he used to be a fellow member of the Guardian Shinobi 12. But I thought you, I started to say. Naruto glared at the man. You, what the heck did you do to Sora? Kazuma smirked. All I did was take your leftovers. This only made Naruto even angrier. What did you say? Sora is just like you. Stop. Sora cried as he struggled with the Nine Tails chakra. Sora, Naruto said in concern. What is this pain? Am I really becoming the Nine Tails? Naruto swung back to glare at Kazuma again. How in the world did you do that to Sora? That's what I'd like to know, I said. And how was he even alive? You know more about the Nine Tails attack on the Hidden Leaf than me, said Kazuma. Back then, the Nine Tails was sealed inside a baby at the cost of the fourth Hokage's life. The Hidden Leaf obtained the Nine Tails, and we couldn't afford to miss that opportunity. After the Nine Tails went on its rampage, we obtained the scattered chakra. We cultivated it and then implanted it in Sora 5 years later. You, Naruto started. Sora is your. So what? Said Sora, who was still struggling with the Nine Tails chakra. The Hidden Leaf had obtained a significant power, said Kazuma. We also wanted to obtain such a power in order to protect the king. What's wrong with that? Naruto, Asuma said. I glanced at my friend and saw pain and understanding in his eyes. Feeling compassion for him, I moved a bit closer. I knew, Naruto said softly. That's right. I knew that was Sora's voice crying out, and yet, why wasn't I able to pick up on that? And here I was the only one who could understand his pain and his cries. It was the same back then, too. The eyes around Sora watching him. Those cold and repulsive eyes, as if they were saying, get out of here. I knew they were the same. The same as those eyes watching me. Naruto, I murmured sadly. The eyes of the adults looking at me, as if wanting to stab me to death. It's those same eyes. What does that matter now? Sora all but growled. Those eyes. The eyes that only saw us as monsters. Isolated us. And on top of that, you try to use us at your own convenience. It's like the time with Gaara. Why don't you adults even attempt to think about how we feel? And moreover, Sora, why was it necessary to put this monster inside him? Why did this to Sora? And he's your own son, too, I said, glaring at Kazuma. Yet, Gaara's father had done the same thing to him, hadn't he? What was wrong with these people? Shut up, Naruto, Sora said, clutching his head. Stay away. You all stay away from me. Asuma stepped closer to him, but he stepped back. No, I won't be tricked anymore. You killed my father and then tried to befriend me like nothing happened. Special power, my foot. You tricked me. Sora, Naruto said in concern as he moved towards him. I told you to stay away. And when all is said and done, you're also just one of the hidden leaf. I can't trust you. What? Suddenly, the Nine Tails chakra enveloped Sora. What's going on? Nine Tails cloak on Sora, said Asuma. He narrowed his eyes at Kazuma. Don't tell me Sora's cells are merging with the Nine Tails. Just then, Yamato and Sakura arrived at the scene. What's this? Yamato said in alarm. What in the world has begun here? Unlike the Jinchuriki there, the Nine Tails chakra is too massive for Sora's body, Kazuma explained. Therefore, I continued to suppress the Nine Tails chakra with a sealing jutsu for these past 10 years. However, with the Nine Tails chakra now having been released, the balance has been lost, and Sora's body is being taken over. Once the Nine Tails has formed all Nine Tails, Sora will literally turn into the Nine Tails. Only then will the imitation Nine Tails become the real thing. You jerk! Naruto exclaimed. I could feel my own rage building. How could you do such a thing? I said. It's not right. Then I'll turn over this body to that fox, said Sora. In exchange I'll smash this world. He took on a fighting stance. Stop it, Sora! Naruto cried. Asuma and Kazuma then began to fight while Sora lost control. Sora roared at Sakura, and Naruto jumped in to protect her. Yamato managed to bind Sora with his wood release, but he was unable to suppress his chakra because he didn't hold the first Hokage's necklace like Naruto. Am I that much of a hindrance? Said Sora. You don't need me. Huh, said Naruto. You're wrong, Sora. We just don't want you to use that power. I am one with this power. This power is the only thing I can trust now. I'll have revenge on all of you guys who drove me to loneliness. Naruto. Sakura cried. I shook my head. We didn't do anything to you. We're trying to help you. I'm sick of people getting hurt with this power, said Naruto. Back then I heard Sakura. You'll end up tormenting yourself if you rely on the power of the Nine Tails. And it could turn into a power that hurts your friends. That's why I don't want you hurting anyone with that power. Sora glared at him. You don't know anything about me. Naruto fixed him with a fierce look in return. Yes, I do. The origin of the Nine Tails you've been implanted with is sealed inside me. Now Sora was surprised. What are you talking about? I'm a Jinchuriki. What are you saying, Sora? Naruto said as he stepped towards him. Sora recoiled. Stay back, I won't be tricked by those words. Suddenly, he froze. The shadow possession jutsu is a success, said Shikamaru. I turned to see he has arrived with Choji. Shikamaru, Choji, Naruto said with relief. They've come. Damn it, Sora muttered. More friends, huh? He clenched his jaw when Choji used his partial multi-size technique to grab hold of him. Something's not right. If you've got the Nine Tails sealed inside you, why do you have so many friends? I was all alone the whole time and yet, why do you? I looked at our friends with curiosity. As far as I was aware, Sakura and I were the only ones who knew that Naruto possessed the Nine Tails, but the others didn't look surprised. Maybe they guessed at it already, and it didn't matter to them. I felt proud of my friends. It was the same with me, too, Naruto said. When I was little, I was always by myself. But I didn't have the time to be lonesome. I wanted to get everyone to acknowledge me. And these are the friends I made. Sora glowered at him. I have no friends like that. These guys are all your friends. I nodded fervently. That's right. We're your friends. Come on, Sora. You can fight this. For a second, it looked like Sora was listening to us. While he was held captive, Ino used her mind-body switch technique on him. Suddenly, I felt the chakra of the Nine Tails flail wildly. Ino ended her jutsu, crying out in pain. Choji let go when his hands were burned by the chakra, and Shikamaru ran out of chakra. I tensed as I saw the now free Sora gain a third tail. This is very bad, I muttered, remembering how destructive Naruto was in this form. We had to stop him, for his own sake as well as that of everyone around us.